Hi, my name is Godwin, and I'm a trained psychologist working in the addictions field for over half a decade now. If you caught the previous video, then you know why we are here, and you are welcome back. If you are completely new, I recommend checking out the previous video. The link will be in the description area. You are also very much welcomed. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for sharing the video, for liking it, and thank you for subscribing over at the YouTube channel. God bless you. So this is video number 2 with the aim of getting it out there to individuals who are suffering from addictions that there is help, and to also get tools out there on how to get out from the vice grip of addiction. It's also to get it out there to families who have a loved one suffering from addiction, that there is help in case they want to seek it for their loved one. I've seen, and at some point in these videos we'll talk about how addiction is a family disease, that when one member suffers from an addiction, the entire family suffers as a result, as you may have seen in other families or in your own family. So in the previous video, we spoke about how somebody gets from becoming a social user to becoming a full-blown addict. And I told you how these principles are the same, they cut across. I focus more on alcoholism and drug addiction, but the progressive stages of addiction can apply almost to any other form of addiction. People start by experimenting, they go on to social use, they go on to instrumental use, and then it becomes habitual, and then it becomes an addiction, what is clinically diagnosed as substance use disorder. So instead of looking at the recap of how of the previous video, because I know you can just click the link and go to it, I'd like to paint a hypothetical situation, an example of sorts, to try and paint a picture of how somebody moves from becoming an experimental user to becoming a full-blown addict. This is a make-believe story, but it shows what exactly happens in the real world when people start to dance around with potentially addictive substances or behaviors. So let's take Mary, a make-believe character who is 22 years old, maybe in her third year of university. All through, she has been avoiding the nightlife because she has had, warnings and advice from home, do not have this company, don't engage in this sort of behavior. And so she has been able to keep on the straight and narrow up until her third year of university. But at this point, she gets, peer pressure gets to her. Her friends keep asking her to go with them for the night out. They even say, you don't have to do what we do. You can just keep us company. Be our designated driver. For example, just be the sober one, the one who pays for a taxi, the one who, if they have a car, drives us home and all that. So she caves eventually, and she joins them for a night out. Now, while there, she, sees her friends enjoying, they are dancing all around, they are doing shots, and she gets curious. She wonders, how would it be if I took it myself? These are people I know. These are people I can say I trust. I've been with them for 3 years, and so I can confidently say that I trust them. This is Mary's thinking. And so she decides to take the first sip with the encouragement of her friends, and she immediately hates the taste. And her friends laugh at her, and each of them go around giving their own experience of their first drink and encouraging her, telling her, you know what, this is your first time. It was inevitable for you to, feel the pinch, feel the kick in the first taste, but as you go, it gets easier. And so with the encouragement, she keeps on using, and before she knows it, she's become a social user. She drinks over birthdays. It's Anita's birthday this time, it's John's birthday, it's Joshua's graduation day, it's Lucy's baby shower, and all sorts of social events. She decides, she will be drinking during those events, which are not frequent, but they happen every now and then. So she finds herself drinking during those events. She's a social user. And before she knows it, she realizes, oh, I can use alcohol to calm my nerves. I can use alcohol at the end of a long week to sort of unwind. And so she begins to discover alcohol as an instrument, and that's the instrumental stage. She's stressed, alcohol would calm me down. She is bored, alcohol would give me a good time. She has had a good day, alcohol would be a nice way to celebrate the good day. So it's become a tool of sorts. And the frequency of use has increased at this point, as opposed to when it was social. Now it's become instrumental, which means the frequency has increased. And with increased frequency comes increased tolerance. The body is getting used to the substance, and so what was initially enough to give her a kick is no longer enough. She has to up the dose. That's what we call tolerance, built up tolerance. And as you would imagine, with built up tolerance comes an increase in quantity. So frequency increases tolerance, tolerance increases quantity, and quantity increases dependence on it. So you see how quickly it can become habitual, because the next stage is the habitual stage. And this is where I would like to focus on this video, the habitual stage of addiction. I say of addiction because it's a stage, it's not the destination. So when it says stages of something and it's progressive, it means that you are not yet there, but you are well on your way to getting there. So habitual use is, the fourth stage to becoming an addict, and it's only the second last stage. The last stage is the addiction itself, the disease itself. So a habit is something you do regularly, something you do almost out of second nature. You don't think about it. It's like when you get to the house and the first thing you do is take off your shoes. Nobody tells you to do it, you just do it. It's almost second nature. Or for those who are used to your phone, you wake up in the morning and before you do anything else, you want to check your phone, you reply text. It's almost second nature. It's like you're doing it without thinking about it. It's autopilot, in other words. So think about how scary it is to have a potentially addictive behavior or substance as a habit. It becomes very scary because it means you are, far gone, and you are going quicker than you would know, than many people would know. But this video is about, demystifying the journey to becoming an addict, and hopefully getting people to stop before they get there, and also getting people to, receive tools on how to get out from the vice grip of addictions. So a habit would be something like, when it comes to addiction and alcoholism, would be something like somebody walking into a town, and the first thing they want to know is, where do they sell these things? Who is the plug? Ni wapi naweza get kitu cheaper, than my previous one. That's a little bit Swahili. But for those who don't understand Swahili, I'll stick to English. So a habit is, it's like that. It's like somebody walking into a new friendship, and the first suggestion they have is, where can we go for some drinks? Their go-to hangout places is pubs and casinos, or their equivalent. It's become a habit, something they just don't think about too much about. It just happens. And of course, when you develop a habit, it becomes, it's like it's inbuilt. Yeah, it's like it's programmed into you to do whatever it is you're doing. It's a habit. Brushing your teeth in the morning is a habit. Washing your face in the morning is a habit. Biting your nails is a habit. Just find someone doing it. It's not like they think about it, they just do it. So when an addiction becomes a habit, it's very dangerous because you don't think about it, you just do it. And then the things that were happening in the instrumental stage are happening right now at a much higher rate. The body is getting used to the substance, the quantities are being increased, the dependency is becoming more and more. And so in many ways, the habitual stage and the addiction itself, the last stage, substance use disorder, in many ways, they look meshed. They look, twinkled up. They look intermingled. So you see how scary it is to have a potentially addictive behavior or substance as a habit. Let me paint for you a picture, a true story. I had this colleague come into a town I used to work in back in the day, and he was new in town, and he asked me to show him around town, and we scheduled for a walk in town for the next day. So he came today, we scheduled for a walk the next evening so that I could show him around. So while we were walking the next day around town, I quickly realized that he was keen to take note of some areas in town. He kept asking me um, questions to suggest that he was on the lookout for brothels. He was intentionally looking where he could find, commercial sex workers, so to speak. And I was quick to realize that he was well in, the habitual stage of, becoming a sex addict, because the first thing he wants to note when he goes into a town is where are the brothels. When something becomes a habit, you do it almost second nature. I remember when I was drinking, I would walk into a town, and the first thing I'd want to know is where are the drinking dens? Where can I buy liquor? Where can I drink safely, without somebody who knows me walking, in on me? So where would I drink successfully? Let me say that. Where would I drink successfully? And it had become a habit unbeknownst to me in those days. And many people have gotten there and they don't know it, but they're just one stage from becoming a full-blown addict. And the sooner you cut it off, the better. The sooner you get rid of it, the better. Why take a risk? Why risk it? Why dance around with potentially addictive substances and be so far gone into the habitual stage when you can stop altogether and cut off the process to becoming an addict altogether? I believe you can nip things in the bud before they become, before they get any worse or they go any deeper, so to speak. In our next video, I'd like for us to look at the last stage of addiction, which is the addiction itself, the disease itself. And this is where we'll be focusing, because we want to talk about how to use tools to get out from the vice grip of addiction. Now, all through we've spoken about, prevention. The previous stages I've mentioned, the intervention there would be prevention. During before the experimentation stage, we're talking about prevention, getting it out there that it's not worth the risk to drink, it's not worth the risk to start smoking or to start doing addictive things like masturbating or watching pornography and so on and so forth. So far we've spoken about things that can be remedied by prevention, preventing somebody from starting, or if you have already started, cutting it off before it gets any worse, before dependency is developed, and before somebody develops the full disease of addiction, which is usually a brain disease, so it's to do with the brain. But in the last stage, we'll be talking more about treatment. What are the tools you can use to help yourself if you are already in the pit of addiction, if you already feel trapped, you've been trying to stop and it's been difficult, you have tried interventions and it hasn't worked for you, you have gone to countless doctors, you have gone to countless religious leaders, you've gone to the chief in your area, and nobody seems to have the answer for you. The last stage is where we'll be talking about all of that. It might take us quite some time, so we might break them off into videos of the length that we have had before, but it should be very helpful to people who have the desire to stop using. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this far. Look out for the next video, and please share, like, subscribe and follow where you can, so that we reach many people out there who may need this help. And God bless you indeed.